So the basics, there are, like I said, 78 cards. In tarot, split up between the major and minor arcana. So the major arcana is made up of 22 cards. They have to do with bigger spiritual moments in your life and they show bigger change. So the major arcana is like the Fool, the Magician, the High Priestess, those cards. And then the minor arcana is made up of all the suit cards, and they have to do with more minor changes in your life, such as moves, relationships, or jobs. So the minor arcana is more, I think, of mundane sense, while the major arcana is the more spiritual kind of growth cards, based off of the research that I have done. I don't think it's that strict in certain circumstances. Obviously, a lot of tarot is using um, your own intuition, which is a thing that we're going to be practicing today. So we're going to go over upright and reversals of each card, but being in reverse doesn't necessarily mean that it's a negative. Like there's some cards like Three of Swords that when they're in the reversal, it actually means like healing and moving forward versus it being a more negative connotation. All right, so the suits. So we have Wands, Cups, Swords, and Pentacles. So Wands is associated with the element of fire, and it represents action, passion, willpower, ambition, and creativity. Cups is associated with the element of water. It represents emotions, intuition, communication, and relationships. Swords is associated with the element of air. It represents communication, intelligence, conflict, thoughts, and good versus evil. Pentacles is associated with the element of earth. It represents stability, nature, abundance, material possessions, finances, career, and grounding. So knowing the elements of each suits can actually also assist you in your like witchcraft practice as well. So like if you need an element of some sort, like if you need air associated with a spell that you're doing, you could literally use a tarot card. So it's nice knowing how they are associated with each element, but it also kind of helps understanding the element, because obviously you think about fire, you think about like fiery passion and ambition. And then cups, we all know that water is associated with intuition and emotions. Swords, you kind of move them through the air, so they represent air. And then pentacles being of material possessions, so they represent the earth. So it's helpful to remember the elements. If you can't remember anything else, it just kind of breaks it down a little bit easier. The court cards. So something that a lot of people have told me is that the court cards are actually the hardest for people to memorize. And I can understand that because they're honestly the hardest for me. So I'm breaking down a little bit of each court. So the page, knight, queen, and king. I'm actually going to start from the bottom up. I don't know why I put them in this order, but so pages represent young and energetic people who are at the beginning of their personal journey. They're still in the developmental stages of finding their sense of self, and they approach new challenges with energy and excitement. And they look forward to the opportunity of learning. So when you see a page, you can know that this person's at the beginning of their journey, and that they're very excited about it. They don't have a lot of experience in it though. So a lot of pages in tarot can kind of show that fear of moving forward and that fear of looking within, because pages are worried about not knowing enough because they are still in that developmental stage. Knights represent someone who is highly action oriented. The journey is underway and they're more focused on keeping that journey going. They have enough experience under their belt to know what they're doing, but the trouble is that they do not have the full life experience. So knights are very, like I said, action oriented. So whenever you see a knight card, you know it's like movement forward, like getting on a horse and going forward, right? And most of the time, knights, I think, can be seen as a little too hasty, in my opinion. But they are very much about just moving forward without even really thinking of it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes that can actually work in your favor. They do know what to do when faced with obstacles, but they don't always have the right answer, is kind of how I look at knight cards. Queens represent someone who is matured, who has a deeper understanding of themselves and others. They tap into the feminine energy of nurturing and caring for others. They can represent someone who provides nourishment and sustenance to assist in the growth of your journey. First typo, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of those. So I always associate them with the emotional realm, because they do represent the feminine energy. And so within the emotional realm and the intuitive realm. So no matter what suit they're in, there's still going to be more of that emotionally led card. So, or intuitively led card. So even with like, let's take Queen of Swords, for example, this queen leads with both her emotions and her thoughts. So that's kind of a way for you to remember, is that queens always rule over the emotional realm, and they have a deeper understanding of others as well. Kings are considered to be the most mature of the court cards. So something to think about with tarot is it's a journey, right? So basically you're working in the court cards, in the whole thing, but just speaking on the court cards, you're working from page to king. And so you're going from being energetic and trying to figure yourself out to really gung-ho and going into that journey, and then figuring yourself out in your emotional self to becoming this king, this mature like guy that rules over this land, right? And has the ability to make all these decisions. So they've traveled through life successfully and are now at the pinnacle of experience and understanding. So they are the most elevated, and they represent the fully developed personalities of each suit. They show someone who has full control over the feelings, emotions, thoughts, and actions. So normally with an upright king, it's the positivity of like they're leading, they are following their guidance, that and like they continue to move forward, and they are very much rooted in their belief systems, and in the reversal can kind of mean the opposite of that.